And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate. It's all about helping you understand your buying decisions, making you just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show every day, 4 o'clock drive time, right here on AM 860 The Answer, 93.7 FM on the FM dial. We got a weekend show Sunday mornings on 102.5 The Bone, and you can also find us on Apple, Amazon, and Roku on your smart television devices. Just pull up Binge Networks, and you'll find the Consumer Quarterback Show there. And we want to help you win in any marketplace. This is the Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Now, we want to make sure you save the date over at our restaurant partner, Taps Restaurant, which is the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Excellent food, very friendly staff, and just an awesome place to go hang out on the weekends or daily. They have happy hours as well. But save the date here. We've got Wednesday, March 25th, 6:30 to 8:30. We're hosting an event over at Taps Restaurant. Now, this is Tampa Bay's best speed networking event. It's going to be on Wednesday, March 25th, 6:30, Taps International Plaza. So it's right there at the International Mall, very conveniently located. And if you're a business owner, salesperson, this is a great opportunity to meet over 100 business owners, salesmen and women. A lot of our radio show partners, expert contributors for the show. Our real estate team will be represented there as well. The Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, which is the #1 team in the office, by the way. For the last month, we were #1 out of our office, which has 489 agents in the office. We were #1, and you can see the graphics if you're watching our TV show there. So real excited about that. Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes right there. So real excited. So save that date. We'll see you at the speed networking event. Now let's introduce our expert contributors. We got the A-team in the house today, the lovely Diane Vance. Welcome back in.
Hey, well, congratulations for being #1. That's a great honor.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you and team. Great to be here today. I was in Dallas last week, so I wasn't on the show, but I'm glad to be back. So
excellent.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, my pleasure. Fairway Independent Mortgage, our expert contributor, Diane Vance. We're going to talk about Equifax data breach today and have her weigh in on some of that and what you're seeing on the credit side.
That's correct.
Excellent. All right. We got attorney Richard Alexander back in studio. Welcome back, sir.
Good afternoon, Brandon. Love to be here, man. Just get the opportunity to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are an attorney and you are an educator, and
Correct.
You are actually going to court. You're one of the attorneys that actually go to the courthouses.
Well, actually, when I'm not in court, I really don't know what to do with myself. Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause,
exactly.
I mean, I've been in court 5 times this week in 3 different counties in front of, 6 different judges, and that's a typical week for me.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So you are boots on the ground, so to speak. You're in the...
I call it being in the pit.
Being in the pit, that's right, because a lot of these attorneys, they run commercials, they act like they're going to court, but the word is they don't actually go to court.
There is a law firm that advertises prominently in the Bay Area that's on the record by saying that, they try to avoid court whenever possible.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So attorney Richard Alexander in studio. Fred DeFelice, waterscience.us. Welcome back, sir.
Great to be here. Miss being here. I need to be here more often.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we miss you as well. And talking all about the water supply here in Tampa Bay, things affecting the water. There's more pollutants and contaminants than most people understand.
Yeah, and that's our purpose, is to try to educate people so they know what they're dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We actually have a feel-good story of the day, too, that's kind of dealing with water. Mesh nets are helping reduce pollution in Australia. So we'll talk about that. So you got water, in the systems there in Australia. So that's our feel-good story of the day. You also have the Platinum MVP team. Got a hot listing here. I want to let you know about some vacant land. Attention builders and developers. If you are looking to build a real estate property, a residential property, maybe even a commercial asset, I've got multiple properties, probably about a dozen vacant land opportunities here. Let's start with Cox Drive, Peaceful Lane, and Land O'Lakes. This is on Cox Drive, in Land O'Lakes, and it's close to Peaceful Lane, is what my notes indicating there. So this is a vacant lot. It's a half an acre lot on the lake on Cox Drive in Land O'Lakes. You can also pull up 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O'Lakes. That is another one. So there's 4207 Cox Drive. So if you look at this, we got the drone photography that just came in, so we're going to have that next time for you. But right across the way, so this is a half acre lot, 250 price point, and then right across the way at 4214 Peaceful Lane, we've got a 5 acres, over 5 acres there on that one. So that's on Bell Lake, Land O'Lakes, 360 feet of frontage on a ski lake right here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.com. All right, let's jump into it. So we've got Diane Vance in the house, a plethora of knowledge around the mortgage industry, the credit, the real estate industry as a whole. And, Equifax having this data breach, that's going to affect thousands, if not millions of people.
Actually, it was September of 2015. They announced that it experienced a data breach, which impacted 147 million people.
Wow.
So, and they had a class action suit that actually initially ended January 22nd, 2020, which they would, well, let me explain who Equifax is first. Yeah. Equifax is one of the actual bureaus that a credit bureau that actually reports to it's a credit agency that actually reports to the bureaus. And so you have, Equifax, TransUnion, those type of things, Experian, and all three of those report to the credit bureaus. So they're known as the repositories. So they should really keep your stuff. They should keep it. If anybody should keep it secure, it should be them. But it was a hack.
Wow.
And I think I just noticed. I think it might have been in the article you sent me. They actually traced it back to somebody in Russia, I want to say. I think so, or
Wouldn't
something.
Doubt it.
But I don't remember. I know it was out of the country. But they actually extended it, though. They have extended till January 22nd, 2024, that if you were affected, you can get a free, you can either get a $125 cash payment or a free credit, type credit monitoring.
Monitoring.
Yeah, for the next, for until 2024. So actually, my husband was one of those that actually was part of this Equifax. And
how would you know if you are part of it?
I want to say he got a letter. I don't remember because it was a while ago, and they did do the credit monitoring, but then he started. It's very important when you do that. So he went on the dark web to see if he was, and his information was on the dark web. So when you find that out, you want to go in and actually change all your passwords and do all those things, because I'm not sure how you get on the dark web. I don't know if it came from Equifax, but it obviously came from a data breach somewhere.
Wow.
So if people want to know about it, if you just Google Equifax data breach, it's going to bring up to their website, and you'll be able to, if you were affected, you should have been contacted by Equifax. But you can always go in. The other thing people can do is they can do their annual credit report. You can get it free once a year. And then you can also you want to make it was a class action suit from this. That's how they ended up extending it to until 2024.
Yeah.
And so it's so Equifax is it's a big case, and it's a big deal. I mean, it's something that people. We have a lot of customers that come in, and the first thing you do, of course, my daughter was a victim of fraud. Somebody stole her Social Security number, went in, bought like 5 phones at Walmart, 6 phones somewhere else.
Wow.
And had T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, all of them. And AT&T and Verizon, really easy to work with. You have to file a police report. And so it's really easy. You have to protect your data, and you have to protect your information.
Wow.
One thing you can do is you can freeze your credit report. So if you go in, you have to contact, and I actually have the phone numbers
That's
here.
That's a great idea to do, just as a, hey, I'm not buying a house, I'm not buying a car, freeze your credit.
Yep. If you freeze your credit report, then you will be notified. Now, you have to unfreeze your credit report.
You got to de-thaw it. You got
to get a mortgage.
Thaw it out there, put it in the oven.
I think it costs there's a cost. I want to say it's like $5 to unfreeze it. But it's a security freeze. And actually, It's actually, let's see, identity thieves, www.consumer.ftc.gov. And it actually talks about credit freezing. So you can actually freeze or you can just go to each one of the credit agencies and actually have them freeze your account. So a lot of times I'll have people the people that were, with Equifax, of course, they get the free monitoring. So typically their accounts are frozen, but they have the other two still are open.
Right.
So, but whenever you get a loan, a car loan or a mortgage or a revolving credit, you'll have to unfreeze your credit report so that they can actually, because they will not release it, and they'll allow you to unfreeze it for how many ever days you want. If you're doing a conventional loan, you'll want to unfreeze it for the period of time that we're doing the loan, because we do what is called a credit refresh right before, about 8 days prior to closing, to make sure you don't have any new debts. Under government loans, we do not do that. So once we pull your credit, then you can just freeze it again. So,
I like it. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So freezing the credit, consumer.ftc.gov is the best way to look at that.
Yeah, or you can go to each bureau, which is Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And I think I might actually have the phone numbers here. I have it on every credit report, like I would remember it, right? Let's see here.
And then one of the things, too, I want to talk about coming up with Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage here. I want to talk about inspections, issues that you see with inspections. I want to talk about appraisals and issues that you see with appraisals and what the average homeowner can do to prepare for that and how we can overcome those. So we'll talk about that later in the show. More from Diane Vance coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Up next, attorney Richard Alexander Law. And later in the show as well, we got Fred DeFelice, waterscience.us. Find out everything you want to know about water and what's possibly in it that you might not know about it here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also, our feel-good story of the day, mesh nets are helping reduce pollution in Australia. Stay with us right here, Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. Welcome to
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
This is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with D'Angelo Star.
The 62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore. Ask me about Florence Law.
Yes.
To be able to help businesses to do that kind of stuff. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. I've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that movie because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in any marketplace. We would love to speak with you about any type of concerns you have buying, selling, or investing. We can help you value your property, get a free CMA, comparable market analysis for you on your property here in Tampa Bay. We want to help you win. This segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brothers Easy Moving, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, they are a first-class organization. They did a great job with my family's move, and whether you're planning a local or even a long-distance cross-country move, reach out to Brothers Easy Moving and make sure you let them know that the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on their special offers and incentives for our radio and TV show family out there. All right, Brandon Rhymes here, as you know, the owner of the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. Got a hot property listing, one of my favorite listings right now, 6919 Makers Way in Apollo Beach. This is a planned unit development. You got a beautiful property here, an awesome community pool. Look at those pools. I wish I had pools like that when I was a kid. You got all the, we had to go to Wet n Wild to get that type of a pool there with the the slides coming down and all that cool stuff. So what an awesome place to raise a family there. 6919 Makers Way, Apollo Beach, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, open concept floor plan, no backyard neighbor, fenced in yard. Great opportunity to own real estate here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Also, office available. Attention business owners, folks, if you're out there leasing your business space, check out 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa. This is in the Town and Country area, very close to the Hillsborough-Sheldon Memorial intersection right there where you got the Home Depot and the Publix. 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue. Check out the conference room. Gorgeous conference room. You got an opportunity to purchase a great opportunity here with lots of parking spaces. There's a video surveillance system throughout the whole property, and it's completely fenced in. So you've got ultra high security, and you got newer roof, newer AC, and just a great conference room there where you could have some awesome sales meetings. I actually showed that this morning to a local business that potentially could be putting an offer in. So we're excited about that. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.com. All right, attorney Richard Alexander in the house. He's also an educator. He's a teacher as well, and helping folks out there in all types of different areas with law.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man. And you're on the news as well. You're a local celebrity here on the news once a month or a couple times a month. I see you on the...
it's a lot of work, but I always say it's my third job because, practice of law. I teach at night at a local university, Everglades. And then there's social media, which is my third job.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It is. And you have a great sense of humor with it as well. One of your last social posts I saw on LinkedIn, it was an interesting story that happened in the courtroom.
Yeah, there's so much that happens in court. It's ridiculous. It's impossible to keep track of everything. But every now and again, your ears get piqued. Yeah. And one of them recently was there's a witness on the stand. The judge says, do we know each other? And the witness is like, well, I don't know if I should tell you, Judge. He says, do you realize I can hold you in contempt if you don't answer my question? Yeah. The witness says, I was your bookie.
It's a very nice. Yeah, that was a funny one right there. So, so with all seriousness, you're helping people out in lots of different areas. Talk to us a little bit about some of the recent success stories, or maybe just an overview of what you're looking for to help people with.
Well, I do pro bono, and the bar doesn't demand that attorneys do pro bono. They highly recommend it, and I do that every month. I love it. I also consider it a part of my practice because I do Fox 13. Yep. And people call in, and in an hour I can take anywhere between 12 and 15 phone calls.
Yeah.
And this is one thing I talk about too on the show. your show is I talk about preventive law.
Yes.
Call the lawyer before you need to go see the lawyer.
Yes.
Say, like preventive medicine, go see the doctor before you need to see the doctor.
I like that.
So that's a big part of my practice. I love the opportunity to give back in that manner.
Yeah.
Also, there's one thing I wanted to talk about because it's right in the news, and if you're if you are a resident of Florida, then you voted on this. But I know you like topical subjects.
Absolutely.
And just came down the Federal Appeal Court on the Florida Felons Right to Vote Act.
Yeah.
And that was just heard by the the Federal Appeal Court, and they issued a ruling that, if you all remember, in 2018, when Hillsborough County residents raised not taxes once on ourselves but twice on ourselves.
I do remember that.
Well, there was an opportunity to vote for: do you think convicted felons should have a right to vote after they've served out their sentence? Because Florida was one of the few states that did not allow felons, ex-felons, to vote. You lose your any privilege to carry a firearm, and then you also lost your right to vote. And what happened was it was on the 2018 ballot, and we decided that no, I think it is a good idea if they get their chance back to vote. Before that process, you had to go through the governor, and the governor's office literally had to sign off on whether or not you should get back your voting rights.
Now, don't they also have to pay all restitution involved with their...
Well, see, that's the problem. That, when we voted on it, yes or no, and it was approved, they got the percentage that they needed. What happened was that, well, what does that mean exactly? Does it mean fines, court costs, and restitution? And, and the governor had to get involved, Governor DeSantis. And he actually had asked the Florida Supreme Court for an opinion as to, hey, can you help me out on this? Does it mean fines, court costs, and restitution, or is it just they served out their sentence, regardless of the monetary side of it?
Yeah.
And, the governor issued a ruling that, no, it does mean that they do have to pay back their fines, court costs, any restitution owed to any potential victims.
Which sounds fair to me, just without analyzing the details of the case.
Correct.
Sounds fair to me. Like, okay, they got in trouble for some type of an armed robbery or whatever it was. They did something wrong. They made a mistake, and I think most people say, yeah, let's forgive and forget. In some cases, they serve their time, but they do need to pay for what they stole, or maybe if it was an accident with damage, they were running from the cops, it was an accident, they caused property damage, they need to repair, make that person whole who they damaged their street signs or whatever it was. To me, that sounds like a fair deal.
Yeah, there are little things associated with that, like for instance, the law enforcement agency are going to ask for what's called investigative costs. That's also, all of this can consider part of probation.
Right.
And a lot of times people just can't pay it or don't pay it.
Right.
I don't know if it's an indigency status, like I don't have the money and I will never come into the money.
Yeah, just flat broke
or
and
just
barely
says,
getting by.
I'm not paying it. I don't care what you do to me.
Right.
And, the governor was kind of handcuffed because he said, well, listen, I don't have any direction, but I'm going to say that it does include fines and court costs. So what happened was they took this up to the federal appeal level under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, and the federal appeal court just ruled, we're talking 48 hours ago, that part of the law, of the Florida law, is unconstitutional. Now, this was a 3-0 opinion.
Which part specifically,
The
Richard?
part about monetary fines.
Paying back the fines.
Correct, because what they're saying is this is the federal appeals court. What the federal appeals court said is that, well, you're punishing people that cannot pay those fines and court costs or restitution. So in other words, they're incapable. I don't know, I didn't read the opinion, but what I did see is that they didn't address the people that completely just ignore if they're going to pay that or not.
They're not answering the letters. They're
not
answering.
going to do it. No, they're not going to do it. They intentionally say, I'm not going to pay it.
It just seems like it's kind of an easy out for people to say, oh, they can't pay back. I mean, I've got to pay my bills. I get a speeding ticket. I pay my bill. I pay my Clearwater gas. I pay my Tico. I pay, but to be in a position yet on the opposite side of that, I do understand some people have had, especially let's say for example, it's a veteran who served our country. They come back, they've got PTSD. I can understand there's extenuating circumstances for some people, but yeah, it's what a challenging issue. It does seem like a challenging issue.
And you're raising some of the concerns of the Florida legislation and Governor DeSantis that they're saying, well, I don't know what this means.
Right.
I can't make law. I'm the executive branch.
Yeah.
The legislation can make law, but I can't. But this is what I think it means. And Governor DeSantis's role in this whole process is the enforcement of the law.
Right.
Right? The executive branch. That's what its role is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the U.S. Supreme Court is going to take this case. Usually the high court, the U.S. Supreme Court, likes to get involved on cases that affect the nation as a whole.
Right.
So Florida is one of the few states that doesn't allow, well, not anymore, but did not allow felons to vote. I don't know if the U.S. Supreme Court is going to take this.
Interesting. Well, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Please keep us abreast of that. Attorney Richard Alexander here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, alexanderlaw.com. Trust alexanderlaw.com here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Coming up, we got Fred DeFelice as well, waterscience.us. Find out what's actually in your water, talking about some of the things that you may not even think about in the water, prescription drugs and those things of that nature. And also our feel-good story of the day coming up. Find out about how we are reducing pollution in Australia here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it's Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with D'Angelo Star.
The 62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember. Ask it to me about Florida law.
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for
Backles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
as your super connector. We want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, we're back here in studio helping you win in any marketplace, as we say. The Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. A couple of hot listings here in Tampa Bay. 2689 Sable Spring Circle. This is unit number 105. It's a beautiful condo, ground level, so there's no stairs to climb up. And you also have a water view. So this is waterfront. You've got a beautiful pond out in the back there. Nice water view. Sable Spring Circle number 105. 2689 Sable Spring Circle 105. Beautiful condo right here in Clearwater, just right down the road from the mall there as well. And we also have some property available in Wesley Chapel. Check out 33308 Camerton Road in Wesley Chapel. This is acreage on a large lot. You've got a mobile home here. So if you wanted to have cattle, horses, poultry, other livestock, we have an opportunity for you here. Rural lifestyle living out in Pasco County, 33308 Camerton Road in Wesley Chapel. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.com. Somewhere sunny and 75. And this segment is brought to you by Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. I just left the Gandy location in South Tampa. I just got an oil change. I got to tell you, I'm feeling good. I got the Myers cocktail right into the bloodstream. They've got the fatigue fighter, weight loss, detoxification, ozone therapy, all types of cool stuff going on over at Replenish IV Solutions. And we're talking about vitamins, minerals, electrolytes directly injected right into your bloodstream, just like you see in the movies or you see in the hospitals where they have the drips coming in. So reach out to Steve and Lisa Gunnan. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives. They've got a South Tampa location on Gandy, also a Carrollwood office at Barrisondale Mabry right here in Tampa. Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. All right, in studio today, we got Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage coming up in our lightning round, attorney Richard Alexander. And now we're going to talk with water expert Fred DeFelice, waterscience.us. What you been up to, man?
Well, just been busy trying to educate people what's going on, with their lives and their water.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
The thing, most people, when they think about they're in the house taking a shower, they're getting water, that's when they realize something's going on. Generally it's the chlorine smell, it's the bad taste, the scale all over their home, stuff like that. And then they go out to work and they forget about all that, until they get back in the shower the next day. So it's not on people's minds all the time, unfortunately. So this is great that we're able to bring this to people's attention.
Yeah.
So basically what we do, our systems really provide better than bottled water quality throughout the house. So no chlorine smell, no smelly water, and no scale.
Yes.
And what I love about us is our systems are sustainable, which means that they don't pollute the environment like the traditional water softener does.
Yeah.
So we like to educate people on the difference. For the last 30 years, that's all people knew about is having a water softener where you had to use salt.
Right.
And every time that water softener regenerates, what we call, it puts that sodium chloride in our environment. So there's a lot of issues about that.
Yeah, and people don't realize too with the we've heard about at this point, we've heard about, and I've even watched a Netflix special, one of those different specials on opioids, right? And the sheer magnitude of what some of these pharmaceutical companies are just pumping out to the communities, unscrupulous doctors writing these scripts, making a nice mint, making a lot of money by writing out scripts to people that shouldn't be getting them, coming at all times of the night like zombies. But anyway, my point there, how does this get to water, right? So these pharmaceuticals are going through people's bodies, they're getting flushed down the toilet, and they're ending up in our water supply.
They wind up in the Hillsborough River here in Tampa Bay.
That's right.
And that's where the water company gets most of their water from. They cannot take it out at the plant.
Right.
I mean, they could, but they couldn't afford to do it.
So it's just an expensive process to do that then.
Yeah. Fortunately, we can do that at right where it comes into the home,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where you got to do it.
You got to take control of your own personal well-being,
Exactly.
and control the sphere of influence that you can influence.
Excellent.
Right.
You got to realize the world we're living in, not just with water, but a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
And you have to protect yourself.
Yeah. What else is in the water? We're talking with Fred DeFelice, waterscience.us. So we talk about pharmaceuticals, all types. By the way, the number one pharmaceutical in water, Viagra. Viagra's in the water. So Viagra's in the water. Chloramine. What is chloramine, Fred?
Chloramine is ammonia and chlorine mixed.
Ammonia and chlorine mixed.
Right. The deadliest combination you can do. I mean.
Yeah. Wow. So it's not good to drink that, in other words.
No. I mean, your skin absorbs that when you're in the shower, number one.
Yes.
And you don't ever want to drink it.
Yeah. So the largest organ in the body, by the way, is
your skin.
It's your skin.
Yeah.
It's not in the body. It's on the body. It is the body.
It's the body.
Yeah. So it is an organ. It's it's a living, breathing. So you're absorbing water through your skin as you're bathing.
Yep.
Whether you're taking a shower or you're doing the traditional bath.
And typically, people with young children, they're in the tub for a half hour and stuff, playing around, and what are you doing to them?
Yeah.
And the other thing with chloramine, it actually will make pinholes in copper tubing. So a lot of our homes have copper piping, and you hear the dreaded, I got a slab leak. That's where water all of a sudden comes up through your slab.
Wow.
Because the copper lines are under your concrete.
Man.
So you get pinholes in there. Now you're stuck. Now you either repipe the whole house overhead.
Talk about expensive repair there. We're going to talk with Diane about some of the repairs that we see in the mortgage process, inspections and appraisals. So we're talking with Fred DeFelice, waterscience.us. Now, in the past, I know you've had the bottled water challenge.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, here's the thing. I meet people that are spending anywhere from $30 to $100 a month buying bottled water.
Yeah.
Well, we can finance a system for less than $30 a month.
Wow.
And we've rolled out for 220 a rental program and a lease to own.
Nice.
So we have the whole thing covered. We're doing whatever we can to get people with healthy water.
Yeah, you see people all the time coming in and out of either like a Publix or a Costco or Sam's Club. They got this cart weighted down with all these bottles of water. There's microplastics galore in those things. Because think about it, the way that it's shipped and manufactured, it's sitting in a hot environment, a hot warehouse.
Yep.
So anytime you raise the temperature of a plastic, or some people like to freeze them in their freezer, that way they use it for their car. They're in the car all day and they have cold water to drink. But when you change the temperature of the plastics, there's a chemical reaction happening there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's more and more opportunity for that.
And a lot of people refill those plastic bottles. They're one-time use.
Yeah.
And how about the big 5-gallon jug where you go to Publix and stick it in the thing and fill it?
Yes.
Nobody's sterilizing those bottles.
Right.
So it just makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So our slogan is never buy another bag of salt or bottled water again.
Nice. I like that. So you come to the house, and by the way, firsthand experience, a lot of our expert contributors, I can tell you, Fred has hooked us up at our home. We've got the system on the side of the home coming in. So all the water coming into our home has that first level of cleansing, of purification. And it's through the, without giving away all the trade secrets, it's something to do with a coconut husk, right?
Yeah. It's coconut shell catalytic carbon.
Nice.
And this is the thing that's been tested for removing chloramine, or the ammonia part.
Yes. So that's awesome. And then what is it, every 5 years, or how often do you have to change that out?
Yeah, depending on the size of the family, 3 to 5 years we're getting out of the what we call media replacement.
Very cool.
And so we really simplified the process. We have upfront pricing. In fact, people call me, we could ask a few questions, size of the home, number of bathrooms. We could tell you what the system's going to cost.
Nice.
before we even come out and see you.
So why don't you reach out if you're thinking, hey, this might be something for me. No pressure. Fred is not a high pressure salesperson. Right. I can tell you that. No pressure sales here. Reach out if you think about water. You want to improve your water. You want to take a look at this. Have a consultation with Fred. Just text the word water to 813-670-7372. Call or text our hotline anytime. Of course, any questions if you need legal advice. Richard Alexander's in studio. Mortgage and finance. Diane Vance. So just text to 813-670-7372. Of course, anything that you've heard on the show today or 80 other categories. We've got CPAs, financial advisors, several types of attorneys, all types of home services, health and nutrition here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So we'd love for you to raise your hand and say, yeah, Brandon, we want some help. We want to be introduced to one of your expert contributors. And that's what we do the show for. We want you to think about this show as the hub of your financial, your business, your real estate, all those different wheels on your business and your family life. Reach out, because all those spokes extending out represent another one of our expert contributors that we've assembled and we've vetted here on the show to help you understand your buying decisions, make you just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So that's good stuff. We got Fred DeFelice, waterscience.us, attorney Richard Alexander, as well as Diane Vance coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we're going to talk a little bit about success and what we're seeing in 2020 here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, as well as our feel-good story of the day. We've got mesh nets that are helping reduce pollution in Australia. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
This is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it's Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with D'Angelo Star.
The 62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore. Ask me about
Yeah. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
as your super connector. We want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. We've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in all types of marketplaces here, any marketplace, as we say on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We want to help you be a winner out there, and learning more every day here on the show is what we do. We want to bring these experts in, talk about things affecting your daily life, and help you live a better life here. 4207 South Del Mabry Highway in Tampa. This is a South Tampa property, 3-bedroom, 2-bath property here that is owner is motivated, and it is in the Grand Key condominium community. You got a pool on site, close proximity to a lot of the fun stuff happening in South Tampa downtown. You know, all the cool stuff happening in South Tampa. You have a great opportunity to get out there and hang out. 6919 Makers Way in Apollo Beach. Owner is super motivated on this property, and it is in a gated community with community pool and lots of things to do. Clubhouses, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, open floor plan, beautiful property here, and it's a nice price point as well. Just over a couple $100,000 on this one. 6919 Makers Way, Apollo Beach. Low CDD fees and lots of opportunity. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com. And this segment is brought to you by the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, the beautiful Bilmar Beach Resort on Treasure Island right here in Tampa Bay, filled with fantastic and generous amenities to make your vacation that much more special. Check out the Bilmar Beach Resort. Give Clyde Smith, the general manager, a call. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take him up on special opportunities for our radio and TV show family out there. Give him a call. Book direct at the Bilmar Beach Resort and not one of those online engines. All right, we're back here in studio. Diane Vance is in the house. Fairway Independent Mortgage. Attorney Richard Alexander in the house as well. Alexander Law. TrustAlexanderLaw.com. And Fred DeFelice, WaterScience.us. He's our expert in all things water here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And interestingly enough, our feel-good story of the day is about water. So let's tell you something good here.
Tell me something good.
Okay, so we got mesh nets that are helping reduce pollution in Australia. So a city in West Australia started putting netting over drainage pipes to reduce pollution. The city of Kiana has hailed the trial drainage nets a success as it continues its journey towards less waste and increased sustainability. The nets were first installed in just 2 locations in an effort to reduce trash from drainage systems in the city, particularly areas where road drainage is discharged into public open reserves. During the trial that lasted a few months, 370 kilograms of trash consisting of food, wrappers, plastic bottles, sands, trees, leaves were cleaned out of the nets. Once collected as sorted bio-waste, leaves, twigs that are turned into fertilizer. The other garbage is recycled, disposed along regular waste bins. No animals were trapped in the nets, officials say, and the scheme is surprisingly inexpensive. The nets cost just under $20,000 in Australian dollars. So the quote, the success of the post goes on to show how important it is for governments of all levels to really focus on environmental initiatives such as these and realize that small actions can have big impacts, said the mayor. So that's awesome. It looks simple enough, right? Why couldn't we do that here? Are we doing that here? I don't know why, if not.
I'm just amazed that there's so much trash in there. That's amazing.
Exactly.
Wow.
People don't realize because they're lazy and they throw out their big gulp on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that it's not just going to stay there. The rain's going to wash it down into the thing. Yeah. It's going to clog up the thing. Then it's going to cause
and
more
if it's plastic,
problems.
It's going to be there forever.
Yeah, it's going to go into some poor dolphin or seagull's mouth, and they're going to get in their stomach, and then the sea turtles, and so the whole thing. So there's
we need to pay attention.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something that looks super easy to do.
Yeah.
All they did was wrap the culvert with this big netting type of
You'd think that
structure.
Would have happened years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'm also, upset or concerned. Like everywhere you walk around, like a sports, let's just say the mall, for example. Airports are doing it more and more, but everywhere, I feel like almost everywhere that's especially a government place or a public place where there's a lot of traffic and you have a trash can, right next to that trash can should be something for plastics.
I agree.
You know what I mean? How simple would that be to put into play to make it something? It wouldn't cost as much money. And it's just a common sense thing, but it's not so common, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what they say about common sense, right?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so before we jump into our lightning round here, I wanted to play a clip from one of my favorites, one of my mentors. I've been to Tony Robbins' Business Mastery. I walked on the fire. I listened to a lot of his podcasts. But here's a clip from Tony Robbins' podcast. I want to get your commentation on this.
I was born in a world where I didn't have to build this internet that I can pull out of my pocket to answer anything on earth. I am driving on streets I didn't pave. I'm reading books I didn't have to write. That's the gift of our lives. And I think when we experience that grace, we don't just experience more achievement, but we start to experience more fulfillment.
So we lose track, I think, today. We live in the best time in the history of being a human being with what we have, the opportunity that we have here, talking over the airwaves, having successful businesses. But Tony hits it right on the head, is that, we didn't have to invent the internet. We can use it to make money. We can use it to keep in contact with friends and family on the other side of the planet if we wanted to.
Well, now we can see them.
Yeah, we can see them with FaceTime, the
yeah.
technology, the books that we can read, and we can educate ourselves. So I wanted to just kind of get your takeaway from that clip there. Diane, you want to go first?
Yeah. So it's amazing what we have at our fingertips. I think about, how many changes have happened in my lifetime alone.
Right.
I just wonder, like our parents' lifetime. I mean, it's amazing what has just happened since I graduated. You didn't have the internet. You had to go to the library. You had to go to, the bookstore to get books, and you had encyclopedias to learn.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't have that. I mean, it is amazing what we have at our fingertips. So
any question we want to answer.
Anything. Now, come with that is exactly what I talked about earlier.
Data breach,
yep.
Hacking.
Yes,
personal information exposed.
Yep. But
bullying with kids on social media.
Well, that is true. That is true. Social media.
There was a Pinella school.
Yes.
That had a death.
I know.
My daughter was telling me about it.
My grandson goes to that
Car
school.
Wise.
Yeah, Car Wise. He
so
was
sad. The kid,
7th grader. It was over Christmas.
And he was reaching out, and people were still making fun of him.
Yep.
I just don't see how that can happen.
Media.
I do see, on one hand, I do see how that could happen because it's sheer numbers. There's lots of students. But I feel like there needs to be more oversight. And if somebody's bringing it to attention, hey, this kid's getting bullied.
Yeah.
Let's pull those kids into a classroom somewhere, and maybe we need to bring back corporal punishment.
Yeah. If you remember when you were younger, you got bullied, but it wasn't. Everybody didn't see it, and everybody couldn't actually participate without being known, right?
And see it online, and everybody's chatting about it. So people can
start, so your bullying becomes a bigger deal than it was when, you were younger or I was younger.
Good point.
So now it's just magnified.
So pros and cons to the internet.
Pros and cons to the internet.
Richard?
Yeah, I would agree with that. The pros and cons of the internet have opened up a whole new life. I mean, you have teenagers that are now millionaires because of the internet.
Yeah.
Really.
That toy kid, kid that shows the toys off.
Yeah. I asked my kid, what do you want to be able to grow up? And he said, I want to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
And I said, what? What are you talking about?
It's a noun, right?
Correct. Right.
It's like, wow, that's a noun. That's a person.
And the other side of it, of course, is that there's a reason we don't have Walden Books and Borders anymore. It's because of the internet.
Right.
And Barnes and Noble, I don't even know how they're doing it, but
yeah,
will bookstores become a thing of the past? And that would be shameful, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But they're good and bad to it, obviously. It's allowed us to reconnect with people.
Yes.
Yeah, it's allowed us to reconnect with, family and friends. But at the same time, the anonymity of the internet has certainly led to a lot of, bad behavior and trolling. And actually, do you remember that young lady, I think she was a teenager, was convicted in South Carolina for manslaughter?
Wow.
Because they found her texting led to a boy, I think it was a teenager as well, committing suicide.
Wow.
And she was nowhere near the crime scene, and she was convicted.
But she was influencing it.
She was being convicted of a homicide.
She was being manipulative.
Correct.
Which is definitely, it opens up. Fred, want to add anything to that?
Well, with the internet, doing research on any item you want to is incredible. But you have to know what you're looking at, too.
Because there's a lot of fake sites and bad information.
Yeah.
You have a personal responsibility to to research your sites,
right,
and make sure you just don't believe everything you see on there.
Yeah, if you're using that
research
data,
the research.
Yeah, research the research. That's right.
Well, in the political world, they say fact check the fact checkers, right?
Yes.
Whose facts are we using, the left or the right? That's a whole nother.
That's another show for.
Yeah, but I think in general too, as human beings, we kind of put the past on a pedestal.
Yes.
It's like, oh, the way we used to do it is so much better, and then we want to sometimes pick on these kids. Well, they're always on those machines. But that's the life that they're going to live. They're going to grow up in that life. So that's how they're going to probably earn an income. They're going to live a life. They're going to grow their own business. And the other thing in terms of opportunity, our grandparents, think about it. My grandma tells stories of how, she got married one day and was out in the field working the next day, and they're canning tomatoes to make sure they make it through the offside, the slow times. Yeah. But now, you work your day job and you give it a good effort. You do your job. But when you get home, you eat dinner, you put the kids to bed, whatever it is. What are you doing from 7 to 11 p.m. or 12 o'clock at night? Right. So you could come in and start an internet-based company and make your own life and live another life and build a business with the internet after hours and your off hours. And I think just, again, putting the past on a pedestal and our resistance to change as human beings, that's something that we see. So interesting conversation, excellent stuff. Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, thanks for coming in. Attorney Richard Alexander, always a pleasure, sir. And Fred DeFelice, thanks for dropping nuggets on our water quality and waterscience.us. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness, pack up some food or clothing, volunteer, donate some time, hand it to that person that you see in need, and be a force for good in the community. Maybe even swing a hammer for Habitat. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter, the Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook and Instagram, and link up with us on LinkedIn. We'd love to connect with you. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.